Yo, 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 yo.
Talk loud.
Hey, hey, hey.
Excellent.
All right. Heading to barbecue and take photos.
Yeah, did you see that Franklin released a list of 8 places to eat in a row? Or 5 places to eat in a row? I gotta go look at it.
No, I didn't see that.
After the Texas Monthly list came out, he released his own.
I saw that
his own exactly, but he listed his like Central Texas.
I'm not surprised by that.
No, but and it's probably going to be a lot of crossover. Let's be clear. Since like Mueller's and such are usually on his list that I've seen.
He was doing a mashup with somebody, and they were doing like brisket banh mi's or something. It was something weird with like.
Sounds delicious.
Yeah, it does.
Well, I was going to say Vietnamese culture uses a lot of brisket.
They do. Yeah.
That's a common, like we think of that as a Texas thing, but they use it in a totally different way than us.
Yeah. Yeah.
In a good way, unlike, Eastern South barbecue that like you get
Chopped.
or you get like sashimi sliced brisket that's oven. I don't get it.
Yeah,
But their pork is good, but their brisket's terrible.
Yeah.
So I'm Andrew.
I'm Josh. We're on the road.
Yay! Going down to Randy Kerr is hosting I'm not even sure. He called it benevolent light class, but he's trying to figure out, from talking to him, he's trying to sort out like what the next thing in photo education is. He's been doing this for a long time.
5th generation photographer, I think.
Yeah, but he's also been like a photographer / photo instructor for 40 plus years.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I'm curious to see what he's comes up with, because I think we feel the same thing too. Like the idea of sitting in the classroom and having information imparted, not just in photography, is sort of over. The world is sort of over that.
I'm really liking the idea more and more of like excursions, of like that high value trip, and where you learn along the way and like connect and.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of started off that way, right? Like we wanted the first Anytime Light we offered. It was really about, hey, we're going to talk at you for a little bit. We're going to talk about the concepts, and then we're just going to be there to help you figure it out. And here's all our stuff. And it seems really alien from a formal education standpoint, but it's much more like we handle childhood education, at least when we handle it well, right? You drop, hey, here's a room full of blocks. What can you build? And Daddy will be here to, when you can't figure something out and you want to ask a question, I'm here to tell you. And that's kind of the concept that we're working on. I think he's going the same way from a different way of talking about it. So we'll see. I'm really curious.
Yeah, I'm curious too. I just attended the Texas PPA Summerfest last weekend, and they had a lighting class. It was just like, it was 100 people in a room. It was like, here's what one light does. Here's a clamshell setup. And I had to leave. Like, I couldn't sit through it.
I really think that once you get beyond basics, and this is not as a slight to anybody who wants to learn that way, but once you get beyond the very basic stuff, that type of education is almost useless. Looking at, I almost got a PhD. I got to the point where all I had to do was a dissertation. All I had to do was a dissertation. Like, did comps and all that. So taking PhD classes, the good classes were the ones that I really enjoyed, and the ones that I think were really truly sort of PhD level. Man, they were basically paper discussion classes. So the instructor was there to direct you to papers to read, and then the classroom was basically an hour-long discussion of the concepts the paper talked about. And you would read 3 or 4 papers for a class that were all about sort of the same type of thing. RAID storage, like you'd read the fundamental papers from when RAID was kind of created, and then you'd read papers about the statistics of mean time to failure, not in a hard drive sense, but just in general. And the expectation was that you would synthesize that RAID arrays had a higher rate of failure, a shorter mean time to failure than single hard drives. And so then there's this trade-off, and the whole idea was that you came to that, you could have written it on the board.
Right.
And that was irrelevant.
Yeah,
but he did a really good job of putting it out there and helping lead us to that conclusion.
When I worked at Pluckers, we had a really extensive training program to get people ready to go. And our basic method was like, I'm going to tell you how to do it. I'm going to show you how to do it. And then you're going to tell me how to do it. And
yeah, make him regurgitate it back in a way.
And that to me is kind of the same philosophy I carry over. It's like, I'm going to tell you how to do it once, and we're going to talk about why. And then I'm going to show you how to do it. Now here's all our stuff. Go do it, and we're going to be there to help. And you're going to tell me why, like what you're doing as you're doing it. And like that to me is the only way to learn. Like if you don't get the muscle memory in a week, you're going to forget everything you sat in a class in.
Yeah, and I think really I like to take it a step further. Like that's repeat it back to me, which is a really good thing, because it makes sure they have the ability, in your own words.
Yes.
They have to reformulate it. For me, it's really, I know I really only learn when I have to reinvent the wheel. Like in a physics class, I only learn when you make me reinvent when you make me figure out the proof. And then I never forget, even if I forget the formula, I understand the concept.
I know how to get back there.
Well, and I know when I go look it up, I know what I'm looking for, right? And I know how to apply it because I understand it. So.
Yeah, it was weird. Like I was in that class. I mean, I sat in for a little bit, and like this guy was trying to explain the concept of like clamshell lighting, and somebody's like, "Well, what kind of flashes are those?" And the guy was like, "It doesn't matter. Like it's just."
I was watching an Ortho video last night, and they were like, we get really annoyed when we see these people like post a picture to a forum. They were talking about the influence of photography on the world. And they were talking about how valuable the photographer is, and people will post a picture, and people go, "Oh, what camera and lens did you use?" Which completely steals the agency of the photographer. It says the camera and lens are what mattered, not the technique and the eye. And cameras and lenses are equipment. They by themselves are useless without technique, which is what that class is about, learning technique. And technique is useless without artistry.
Yeah.
You know, everything we do up until the point of artistry is in service of artistry.
Yeah, I would have asked, what were you thinking when you were standing there?
Yeah,
like,
why did you want to light it that way?
That's why I think with that 50 Portraits book by Heisler is so, like he talks about gear a little bit, but he's like, this is what I was thinking about. This is the problem I was trying to solve. This was what I was trying to communicate, and the challenges.
He talks about the key point, the key challenge in every single portrait he talks about. And sometimes it is technical. Sometimes it's like, I had this tight space, and the president only gave me 1 minute, and I had to get it exactly right. And I can only take 3 frames, so we took 100 test frames. You know, he always talks about the technical things when they're appropriate. But other times it's about getting buy-in, right? Like, what's the important part? I have this concept that their producer their publicist and producer did not like, but they loved. And so I had to negotiate my way into being able to tell them about it so they could override their publicist. You know? So, anyway, so I'm really curious to see what Randy has. Here comes my rough, jarring segue. I want to talk about Pentax. Since we're going to the shooting thing, and you should be asking, who are you and where is Andrew? Because I brought 1 lens and 1 camera for me. I just really feel like shooting my old Nikon 50 today, which is weird because Pentax has been nice enough to loan me some gear. We're talking about doing a collaboration teaching astro classes with it. Really excited about it. I've been playing with the K-1, but the weather hasn't cooperated for astro since I got it. Unfortunately, tropical storm. But I'm really liking some features on it, and I'm not gonna. This is not supposed to be a review about it, but so you're gonna shoot it today. I brought that. You're only taking it, so I'm gonna hand it to you today.
Yep.
Remember when we got it out and you went, wow, that 300 f4 is really small. So I'm going to tell you something about it, and you're going to go, oh, that makes sense. And then you go, wait, no, that doesn't make any sense. It's a crop frame lens. That has a big enough image circle to shoot full frame, which means it's not a crop frame lens. It's in their crop frame lineup, and it's small like a crop frame 300 f4 would be, but it's shooting at the full frame size. It's not shooting crop. It's shooting at the full 36 megapixels, and it doesn't vignette at f4 at all, which means it's not a crop frame lens, even though it's in their crop frame lens section.
Canon.
It's weird.
Canon has, I've heard, they have a 17 to 55 2.8. It's like their pro crop frame 24 to 70 basically.
Yep.
But I mean for crop sensors, and I've heard that people have mounted it on like full frame.
Well, I mean, I shoot that Nikon 35DX f1.8.
Yeah. And
I have to shoot it wide open. I tested this one wide open. I haven't tested it stop down. I'll see what it does vignette-wise stop down. My instinct is to shoot wide open, but a lot of times crop frame lenses will work wide open. Crop frame primes.
Yeah.
Crop frame zooms almost never work on a full frame body because of the way the primes work, the zooms work. But it, like, the places that one falls down, ignoring the fact that I can't stop down below f2.8 without seeing the front barrel, is the corners have really weird distortion and they're super soft, which, since most of the time I'm shooting at f2 and the subject is not stuck in a corner, it doesn't matter. So I'm curious to see, maybe this one's not sharp in the corners, maybe it vignettes really heavily if you stop down. Yeah, it should vignette worse. Normally vignetting happens at wide open.
Yeah.
But when you have a lens that doesn't have a big enough barrel it doesn't have a big enough image circle, you start seeing the edges of the image circle, i.e. the front barrel, when you stop down. Because they become in focus. They're out of focus when it's wide open, and they start being in focus. So it's not really vignetting exactly, but it shows up at stop down.
Lens shading, I guess, would be the term, right?
Yeah, it does the opposite thing that normal vignetting does.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I haven't tested that, so we'll see.
Yeah, we might shoot a little bit. We'll try it out here in a little bit.
Yeah. Anyways, been watching more stuff about the K-1. I will say my initial impression of the files is they're really good.
That's what I've heard. I've heard.
Unsurprisingly, since people surmise it's the same sensor as the D810. Like, okay, good. That makes complete sense. You would have to work really hard not to get good images out of it. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see what you think of it.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm excited to play with it. I've always kind of had a soft spot for Pentax. Like, I've always wanted them to succeed, even.
Sorry about the random tilt the camera had. I think I didn't tighten something down all the way. So
I've always had a soft spot for them. They were always kind of like when I see people shooting with them, I'm like, good for you. Like, I like that.
I mean, like the tilt screen, right? So I went and watched a bunch of reviews, and my Nikon. So Pentax has a reputation for being like macho and tough and heavily built, and like this K1 is definitely heavy duty. It's very heavy, which some people want and some people don't. I like a really well manufactured body, and everything is super positive on it. So that's, I mean, like mechanical positive. It almost feels like an old K1000 or like my old Leica. Like it's got the kind of mechanical, nice feel. But like the screen, right? Like they engineered this. It looks like something out of a Terminator movie. It's got like struts and bearings, and it's super like mechanical.
LED lights on it.
The LED lights are cool. That's a super, like, kudos to them for putting that on there. Like the screen, it works great, and I haven't used an articulated screen really outside of video since my D5000, and I've forgotten how much I miss it for like tripod shooting.
Oh yeah.
Like even my Gitzo's at head level, and so like if I want to look at the screen, if I've got it pointed at the sky like I often do, I have to like crouch down and I get a cramp in my neck. And this I just flip it up.
Yeah.
So nice. But like they seem to have invented a new wheel, a new mousetrap. And like it seems like they're trying to make it tougher, but like my D5000, we have literally drug all over this planet. It's been to Antarctica,
Indonesia, right?
it's been to Thailand, it's been to South America. I mean, it's been to Antarctica numerous times on boats. It's been dropped on the boat, like smashed into things on the boat. And our GH4s, like, we're not nice to our GH4s. They have the same flippy screen that flips over. And I haven't ever broke one of those screens. I've broken the actual LCD, which I would have broken on any screen because I punched it with a rock. But that's not really that's not the flippy part's fault. In fact, it wasn't even flipped out. That's the fact of dropping it on the screen. So, anyways, it's cool. It's heavy duty, but I'm not sure the extra weight is worth it. But the flip side of the coin is, I drive a huge truck, and I don't drive it because it's heavy. I drive it for the other things. So maybe it's nice that it's, I certainly don't mind it.
It wasn't under-engineered.
No, it was not. And it definitely looks badass. Like, it looks really cool.
Yeah.
Which, has an appeal, right? I want to look cool, so.
Yeah, I want to try the, what is it, the 4 pixel shot or whatever.
You have to have a tripod for that, because it's basically stacking.
Yeah.
Oh, you brought yours? Good. Yeah,
trying
pixel shift. Yeah, and from looking at reviews of it, under the right conditions, you do get higher resolution. Like, it's if you have the right lenses. And they sent me the loaner kit I have. I have the 15-30, the 20-70, and the 300 f4. It looks like the only one of those is actually a Pentax lens is the 300 f4. The other two are rebranded.
Tokinas?
No, Tamarons.
Tamron, that's right.
But the reviews of them are all excellent. They just took the image stabilization out because it has in-body stabilization, which is cool. So they technically should be lighter, but neither one was light. And they're both really sharp, really good lenses, so I don't really care that they're rebranded. That's a good way to bootstrap their lens lineup for full frame.
Yeah, I mean, lens rebranding has been going on for a long time with different people. I mean, Fujinon made Hasselblad lenses for like 40 years.
Well, like my Sigma 35, like it used to be a Stigma. If you look at the Sigma 35 Arts reviews, like DxO Mark stuff for it, it's got higher image quality than like the Nikon that costs twice as much. No, the Nikon's 15 years old at this point, which is part of the problem. But like aside from the fact that I have some weird focus issues with it sometimes, that I'm not sure is it or me, even though I've shot that way a long time, it's a pretty flawless lens. So like, I have no problem at all with using that lens, even though it's not a Nikon branded lens. So I don't. That 15 to 30 gets really good reviews as an astro lens and an ultra wide lens. So
that's a good range.
Yeah, much more useful. I mean, the Nikon 1424 is spectacular, but it's also kind of goofy because it's like a 5 degree. I mean, it's not 5 degrees. It's like 20 degree difference in field of vision, but it feels like you didn't do anything when you zoom all the way in. It goes.
Yeah. Well, like Sigma has the 24 to 35 f2.
Yeah. What? Why did you bother?
I mean, cool, but
that's like making a 70 to 85. What? Why? That's no difference whatsoever. Yeah. I can take like half a step and encompass the same thing.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm glad they did it. It's.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm really interested in playing with the Pentax. I like what they do. I hope they keep pushing. I like that there's
more options is more better.
Yeah, well, and it's like, and then if their options trickle down to other people's cameras, and then they take other people's ideas, and I mean, it all just ends up having better cameras for all the photographers and whatever needs they prioritize, right? Some people's priority is battery life, some is absolute image quality, some is they want a jack of all trades. Like,
yeah, and that's another thing I want to say. Like reading the reviews and having used it, like the autofocus is not stellar, and that's what everybody says. Their autofocus is definitely not on par with any of my Pro Nikons or your Pro Canons, which are the jack of all trade cameras, right? Like I go out and I shoot sports, and the next day I'm shooting astro, and then I shoot landscape. And DA10 is a pretty no holds barred camera in general. Like I don't care what you do with it. Like okay, it's a little slow for sports, but if you can get away without 14 or 20 or 100 frames a second or whatever, it does a really good job because the autofocus is still pretty strong on it and all that. And the Pentax, to their credit, they have said like our niche is landscape and astro, which focus is not a super critical thing for. But the weather sealing, the fact that they, I guess how do you objectively test the weather sealing without destructively testing it? Don't know. But like the fact that they harp on that they really advertise that, and that every picture has it with water, and that they have a reputation for standing behind the weather sealing on their cameras. More importantly, means that I can trust it. I feel like I can trust it, leaving it out overnight if it rains, etc.
Or when the dew point gets high.
Yeah, and I do it with my Nikons, but I always, I've seen the pictures of people who've had it rain on their Nikons and there's water inside, and they still work, but there's water inside, which is never really something you want.
When the 645Z came out, they took it to a beach and like rolled it in sand, and just like rolled it, and then took it to like the shower and just
sprayed it off,
like hosed it off.
Well, in reality, if it's truly weather sealed, that's what you should be able to do.
Yeah.
Submerging it, no. If you put it under pressure with water, no, I wouldn't expect it to work there. But it's really nice to know that they emphasize that and they focus on that. So.
Yeah, I mean, talk about getting the shot, right? And when the weather's bad, if it's the only camera that you feel confident taking out to get the shot,
or even if you feel more confident taking it out, like if it's your abuser camera, like it's the camera you're going to. Okay, it's pouring rain, but I really want to go shoot landscapes today in the pouring rain. Do I want to take out my D810 or the K-1? I'll take out the K-1, right? Yeah. Like I think even at this point that would be my go-to. I don't know. It's nice to have it. It's nice to have them focusing on an niche because they've built in a lot of features, like the horizon level using the sensor stabilization. Oh my God, it's a trivial software feature that's brilliant. You can turn on. I have auto level turned on, so whenever you set up, especially like a landscape shot with a wide angle lens, like you never get it exactly right. Yeah, it uses the sensor twist to fix it.
Huh.
So that doesn't mean the perceptual horizon will be level, because a lot of times level and perceptually level are not the same thing in a photo. But if you're shooting a flat horizon, ocean water or something, it should, in theory, get it. I haven't tested this, but they have a digital level and they have the ability to twist the sensor, so I have no doubt that they should get it perfect.
Yeah, it's interesting that they took this idea of like, oh, we can twist the sensor, and then they're like, how can we use it? And
yeah,
they're
exactly.
like finding ways to use it.
Well, I mean, it's a good example of allowing your engineer not. Canon and Nikon get stuck in this I feel like they really get stuck in the status quo with the cameras.
Yeah.
And they don't really innovate in general. They do some innovative things, don't get me wrong. Pixel shift, dual pixel focus, great example of innovation. for Canon. But I feel like this 62 that just came out, like it's kind of a laughingstock camera already, because there's so many things that they didn't do the things that were trivial to do. 4K. Why are you selling a camera in 2017 without 4K? You can't use it for vlogging anymore. You can't use it for when every other camera has 4K on it.
Yeah, I will say,
like crippled, just artificially crippled.
Yeah, I mean that's fine. I will also say though, like, I think they set out like we're going to build the best camera we can for a full frame camera for $2,000, and
I don't. But the software stuff. The fact is, the software stuff gets developed and used across their cameras if they're doing the development right.
Yeah.
So I feel like what's happening with Canon and Nikon and other camera companies with a full line, this actually makes perfect sense. It's car manufacturers do it too. Car manufacturers without a full line can give you a lot of features in every car, and car manufacturers like BMW who have 20 different models that are trying to stratify that finely tend to be very careful about removing features from lower models.
Yeah.
Like Nikon, they took the wired trigger release out of the 3400. So that means the 3400 is now almost completely useless as an astrophotography camera, even though the sensor is absolutely capable of doing it.
Yep.
For star trails, anyways.
No, I got you.
I was telling for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's an asinine removal. Like it really is an asinine removal. It doesn't make any sense. So I feel like Pentax, because they only really have 2 cameras. They may have more that I'm missing, but they have a crop frame, the K5.
K3?
K3 I thought was the predecessor to the K5, but maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe so.
Maybe the K3 is. This shows I'm the new to Pentax. I don't know the line.
I thought the K3 Mark II was like their pro crop, and then the K1's a pro.
No, the
full.
K5 is like a 72. It's a pro D500. It's there.
Okay.
And it has all the same, like almost all the same features the K1 has. The difference is full frame or not.
Yeah.
Like it has Astro Tracer, it has horizon level. It had they haven't.
Yeah.
If I'm wrong about this, I'll add it in the description and maybe put a title over the top. I'll go check it because I haven't actually checked this beyond a quick glance. But Pentax seems to be like they're kind of doing what Subaru did for a while, and now that Subaru is more established isn't doing, or like Hyundai is doing right now. Like in terms of features for money, Hyundai is like you get like every car comes with Bluetooth Connect, and it comes with like they just give you all the bells and whistles because they're so inexpensive to add, and they make the car more appealing.
Yeah.
I feel like Pentax is doing, even though they've been around forever making cameras, I feel like they're doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I feel like with I was going to compare Canon to Honda in the sense that, like, Honda says, all right, we're going to make a $15,000 car. Here's everything we can put into it. You know, we're going to make a $20,000 car.
Except I feel like the problem with that, the metaphor is that what's actually going on is that we're going to make a $20,000 car. What can we put in it that won't compete with our $25,000 car? Right, where we won't steal our own business.
Yeah.
And I think that probably points to the point that we're at the point in technology that we should stop trying to stratify that highly.
Mm-hmm.
That, you know, once upon a time it was expensive to have an extra, you know, memory card slot. Like that was a big deal. Like it was a really big technological problem. You know, film cameras, a motor drive, like the ability to shoot continuous at higher speed required a lot of physical technology to be included that cost a lot of money and you had to carry around. Now the difference between like the A9, right? They could take that same package and put it in a lower end camera. Let's call it the A7. I don't know. The A7 already exists, but like the A8, let's say, is the prosumer version of the A9 if the A9 is the pro version. And they artificially limited it to 10 frames a second. It literally would cost them nothing to sell it at 20, except that it would compete with the A9.
Yeah.
So if they sold at a lower price point, they're then trying to. So the question is, why would you stratify? And the traditional answer is discriminatory pricing, right? We're trying to sell a product to somebody who wants higher end and is willing to pay for it, right? But not give those features for free to people who aren't willing to pay for it.
Yeah, I would say the other way to look at it, I mean, I agree with you, like with still in video, how many people are actually shooting 4K video?
I think
who also want like the lower end full frame camera. You know what I mean? Like,
there's definitely that. But now that I've been shooting 4K and editing in 4K, the files are no bigger for us, anyways, and it gives me a lot of flexibility, even if I render in 1080.
No, I that's not. That,
you get it, but
yeah, I get it. But my point being that if I said to a photographer, you can have a full-time, and they're 90% of the work or 100% of the work is stills, hey, I can give you a full-frame, lightweight, the lightest weight full-frame camera on the market for under $2,000, or I can give it to you with 4K, and I want to price that now at $2,500 because now we're including more pro video features to support the 4K. You know, which would a lot of people pick?
About 2,000 probably.
Right, and I think that, I mean, they had to have done the research. Like, they're not...
Right, but that's the stratification.
I understand, but
so
it's still a choice.
The real answer is they should have half as many camera models in their lineup, right? Give me D5000 versus the 5000 versus the 3000 series. It's like the remote. They're trying to create an artificial stratification, and the problem is that people buying at those levels don't understand why they might want it initially. Mm-hmm. And this is probably why the manufacturers do it. So they buy it, and then it gives them that forced reason to upgrade. It's forced obsolescence. I may not buy a camera thinking I'm going to vlog. True story. Right?
But here we are.
And we happen to have pro video gear available in the form of the GH4s. But, you know, the fact that my Nikon doesn't do 4K, my D810. Now, my D810 came out more than 2 years ago. So, at that point, 4K was still kind of a new thing in pro bodies. So, you know, would I have bought a D810 today? I did buy a D810 today, even though it doesn't shoot 4K, because that wasn't my primary concern. But I would be more engaged with the camera if it shot 4K. Mm-hmm. I just would. I just feel like things like that, maybe they work out in the long run, but I also feel like when you're not competing with anybody, giving everybody everything at the same price point, which unfortunately everybody is these days, I feel like that's why Sony and why Pentax has had a chance, and like these other many, Fuji, have been able to come in and steal so many customers. Because for better or worse, they're giving you everything for the same price.
Yeah.
Right? Same reason Hyundai has been building customers in the U.S. Because they've worked really hard to make a quality product, but beyond that, they give you a lot of stuff. So people are willing to take a chance on a brand they haven't previously had a relationship with. Anyways, I mean, I love Nikon's cameras, so, you know, Nikon and Canon both do the same shit. Right?
Yeah.
C200, C300, C100, right? What's the difference? Well, there's not much except for software, if you look right down under the hood.
Canon's selling a whole lot more video stuff than Nikon is.
I get it. And the people who are buying those cameras know the difference too, so they can make an informed decision. That's the other part of this is.
Yeah, it's not a grab off the shelf, right? Like.
Well, and they're not listening. For better or worse, the people in camera stores, they have their biases. They have
their agendas too, right?
Different experiences.
Yeah.
Right. So some of them, I run into this with night photography. A lot of the people who sell at Precision are really skilled photographers. They know a lot about photography, but not many people know a lot about night photography. So I think people buy stuff that's not necessarily optimal. So as an instructor, I try to step up my game in giving people the information ahead of the class. Hey, you won't necessarily learn this anywhere until you pay for a class, which you've done. If you're looking at purchasing a camera, here's the things you need to know if you plan to be serious about astrophotography, or you think at some point you might be, right? Like, here are the features you absolutely need. And so if someone says, well, yeah, this will do it. Yeah, it might, but it's not going to do it well if you don't have X, Y, Z. And that's specialization, right? That's the problem.
Yeah, I mean, it is such a niche.
Ugh. Yay!
We're sitting over Barton Springs right now.
Yeah, kind of want to go swimming. Yeah. Didn't bring a swimsuit. Speaking of swimming, you have to come to 4th of July because I need your slip and slide.
I'm coming to the 4th of July.
Oh, good. The kids are too?
Yeah.
We have so many water toys.
Yeah. Beck and I finally talked about it yesterday.
My wife's been asking us. My wife likes to plan everything ahead, but she'll be excited. We have a bunch of kids in that age and a bunch of water. Just wear a swimsuit as an adult, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to get wet. I'm just going to warn you now. Yeah. And I might have to go make a second brisket. Woo! Because we've got like 15 RSVPs, but a lot of those are people with kids and family. Uh-huh. And I bought a 15-pound brisket, or 17-pound brisket, which will end up being like 8 pounds cooked and trimmed.
You figure half? Is that kind of your...
Yeah, but that brisket's a lot of fat. You render a lot of weight. And I know when we've had 12 or 13 people, we've pretty much eaten all the brisket. So if we end up having 25, so I probably need to go buy another brisket tomorrow. See if I can squeeze 2 briskets onto my pit, which is tight. a good pit for one, not
Yeah,
necessarily for
especially
two.
with 17.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, big brisket. So we'll see. I might just do. I've got a bunch of pork tenderloins too. I might go get some like ribs or something to do that instead.
Yeah, that's what I would do. That way you can focus on one brisket.
More variety.
Yeah, because then if you get like a second smaller one, it's going to cook at different temperatures.
Yeah. Well, I can just pull it off if I need to. Oh, parking in downtown Austin is always fun.
It's free. Free.
Yeah.
For eating here.
Woohoo! Yeah. Okay. Well, we're pulling in a parking garage, so it's gonna get dark. So,
Yeah.
Andrew and Josh, we're on. Man, we're gonna go shoot.
Now we're getting barbecue.
See you later.